All right, give me $50 for every time I talk about these planets because these planets are getting bigger every day. Every day they're getting bigger. So, yes, today we are covering Ketu over planets in 2025, which is going to happen from literally March 19th or March 25th. I forgot which day it is, but Ketu is going to enter the sign of Leo. Okay. And yes, I think from May to July is supposed to be in Kritika Nakshatra. And then July to, I think, November, it's going to be in Bharani Nakshatra. And after that, for the whole year, I think it's in Ashwini Nakshatra. Something like that, right? But I'm not going to be covering all that for each planet. No, sir. I ain't got that kind of time. So today, yes, we're doing Ketu over planets. And remember, I just opened up a mini course, a new course on Aries secrets and the activation age of Aries. Okay. So you will see Aries becomes active at this age, this age, this age. You see where Mars is placed, you see what planets in this sign of Aries, and boom, you will see things. Like it's an instant type prediction type of thing. Now, before we get started on this particular transit, one thing I was noticing is that in 2008, okay, around 2008, Tesla was first released, which is an electric car, right? This time, similar things can happen where Ketu is electricity. Leo is sign of the sun, which is light, and especially sun is electricity. Sun is electrical. Even Sri Aurobindo said that. Sun is not fire, it's electricity. So you will see some innovation, some new discovery of electricity can happen. Maybe, for example, electricity can become free, or electricity can become very transformative, where it's going to be fraction of what it would cost the world. So some discovery can happen. When I was looking back what happened 18 years ago, although Elon Musk was working since 2004 on Tesla, but literally 2007 2008 is when that main thing was built, that okay, this will work. So that'll be interesting. Once Ketu, okay, is going to go over sun, that means Ketu is going to move back. And you should only focus when Ketu is 3 degrees before and 3 degrees after it has gone near sun. Meaning 3 degrees before your sun and then 3 degrees after. That's where the main effect of this Ketu will be seen. And this is going to show, number one, certain people, depending on their profession. Now this is where actually matter. Depending on type of profession you have, you will see you're going to go to new heights. Why? Because Ketu is flag, Ketu represents heights, and sun is authority, sun is ego, sun is your fame. It rises high, goes up high like a flag. And this will also be true if your Ketu is trine from sun. But the main effect is going to be when Ketu goes over sun. See, the trine effect is there, but not as dominating as when it's going over sun. Now, the other thing that Ketu is asking in the sign of Leo, Ketu says, I'll give you benefit effects. I'll give you benefits, all the benefits that you want. But what are you going to give me? Ketu is going to make this exchange. What are you going to give me? So then a planet will say, look, I'll give you my most powerful weapon. And Ketu's like, okay. What is the most powerful weapon that sun has? It has its ego. And Ketu, when it comes in front of sun is like, okay, here. For the time being that you are here, coming towards me and going over me, you can have my ego. Ketu says, okay, I'm going to put this as a collateral. Because if you show your ego, you're not going to get this ego back. So what does this mean? If Ketu is supposed to give you results. The results that you want and need. You must lose that ego, meaning you are a CEO of a company, you're a manager of a company, you live in a gated community and your mother, father have 500 crore business, okay? And you know who you are, how you treat people, how you feel like you're the coolest person, because your poop does not smell. I think I might think that too. My poop does not smell because my parents are making 500 million or 500 crores a year. But go show it. See what happens. You will face the biggest humiliation. Biggest humiliation in life. And what happens is the flag that Ketu rose, it brings it down again. Okay, and this is what, and the thing is, when I looked at some of the celebrities who have gone through a lot of embarrassment, some big, like especially some of these, well, I won't say what show, but I looked at their horoscope. I didn't care about the time of birth. I'm just like, this happened. So this is the best thing you can do. You don't worry about the time of birth. If you really want to understand how planets are going over other planets, you just look at the fact that, okay, this event occurred for this person. What is their date of birth? Look at the date of birth, put it there, go closest to their city. You know they're born in, let's say, US and in New York. Okay, I don't care about the city either. Just put it. And I'll see which planet was near these planets for them to get this event. I do this over and over again. Whenever I'm in my cigar room, I'll always have my laptop with me. So if I'm watching something happened, this happened, that happened, I'm just looking at their birth details. Okay. So then when I started seeing that when Ketu went over Sun, a lot of people found new form of power, new form of fame. They got absolute honor in society. And then when I looked at some of these other ones, like I was watching this one show that I don't want to give a name to, but I'm like, my God, they're arrogant. My God, how are these people and these women are, in real life? And when you look at their chart, when some of them actually went to prison, this and that, boom. Right when their show-offy, arrogant self came into play, boom, Ketu's going over Sun. Ketu's going over this planet, so this is happening, which we will get into. Okay. And the thing is, Ketu, especially over Sun, it's a very special eclipse. It's not an eclipse. Just imagine a ring over your head. It's kind of like a crown. It's a crown on Sun. This is a time, especially if you obviously has Sun in Leo, because you're gonna have to have planets in Leo for this to actually work. So when Sun is in Leo and Ketu is there, you're gonna see some of your best transformation in life will come through this Ketu knocking you down. Like somebody who is a drunken, drug addict musician suddenly turns towards Babaji, Yogananda, Krishna. This is the kind of things it does. Like, for example, for George Harrison from the Beatles. Like, from that crazy, lucrative life to somebody just becoming a saint. But it has to hit you. And if you don't want to be hit, you let go of it. You're the CEO of a company. Next time when you show, if you're arrogant, fine, go have your ego, have your arrogance. Let this Ketu pass, go back to your ego. But till then, behave like you're the chaprasi in front of the door. You're the security guard in front of the door. Okay, if there's somebody who's like, sir, after my pregnancy, I'm having back issue. Is there any way I can get this chair, that chair? Say, yes. You know what? I'll get you this chair. You don't worry about it. You go sit. And once you are doing these things, the whatever the karmic effect is, so if let's say the karmic effect to get the knife on the forearm, it's going to be like a little sewing needle into the forearm. That's how, because again, none of these things can stop what is to happen. But what it does do is the severity of those things that Ketu will do. Naturally, a person, including even, if you are a child and you have a father, there either you or the father will feel naturally introvert and isolated. So if you are rising, father will go into a dharmic spot. When you are going towards the dharmic spot, father will be rising. And if you go towards that, then you become isolated. It's never both at the same time. It's separate. And Ketu, remember, Ketu loves being around the sun. Don't think that Ketu and Sun and Rahu is the same thing as Sun and Ketu. Okay, because Ketu is looking for what Sun can give. Sun can burn the karma and let Ketu have its liberation for that particular soul. Because there are trillions and trillions of Rahu Ketu out there. And so Ketu with Sun feels comfortable because it feels like, okay, the more I'm closer to Sun, the more I'm with Sun, I am burning this person's karma off so I can find my release. And usually with Sun Ketu, you will find naturally a person will be very, very humble. But transit-wise, you will see certain things and certain effect take. But like, for example, what Sun is, or Ketu is going over Sun, a person becomes very patriotic. Patriotism becomes active, either in your father or you. Or if you're a father yourself, your son will have patriotism come into their life. Even if they're 10 years old, they will wear the flag of the country and they will want to get a backpack of that country and they're going to want to read the history of that. These things become alive. Okay, and especially when Ketu is around Sun, this is the best period to do Pitra Paksha Puja. Focusing on your ancestors, because ancestors is coming through the Sun. Sun is the DNA. Sun is the lineage. This is the best time to burn and rectify some of those bad karmas for the whole family. Okay. Now, let's look at Ketu meeting Moon. Now, with Ketu coming over Moon, meaning make sure Ketu's like around 3 degrees before, 3 degrees after Moon. That's where you'll see the maximum results. And when this happens, you will see, I would say get ready for paying very high electricity bill, especially if you're a householder. And if you're not, if you're a son, daughter, you will waste more electricity. Okay. This is also the time period where your mind scatters into small things. Why? Because Ketu's job is to make something small, is to shrink something. And mind, which is naturally scattered, what happens is Ketu makes small pieces of all these things, meaning small things become big things. Why? Because now Ketu has scattered them. It's kind of like taking sequence clothing, right? Take sequence, put it everywhere. And that's Ketu with Moon. Everything will shine. It's not just one thing shining so you can focus on one thing. Everything is shining. Now, if naturally you're an ADHD, ADD, dyslexic, this will be a great time because you can manage these things. If you're not one of these people, now here your mind is just scattered. Also, one's thinking becomes small, meaning a person is not focusing on big goals, big desires. I want to achieve this. I want to achieve that. The mind wants to be in its own cocoon when Ketu is over Moon. Okay. Moon and Ketu, especially in females' horoscope, also shows there will be management of like hormones that you'll have to take care of. Although it's not a big deal at all, but only for certain ascendants, not every single ascendant. On the other hand, Moon and Ketu will take you to long road trips into places of isolation. Depending on the sign, though, will show what type of a place you will go. Well, of course, we know the sign is Leo, but depending upon the nakshatra, also you will see which type of a place you will go. Okay. Either you can go to a deserty place. You may go to a place where there's a huge farmlands. Or you may go to a place on heights, depending upon where Ketu is transiting. And again, like I said, if I get into one planet with the nakshatra concept, then it's going to take 30 minutes for one planet, and then it's going to be a long video. So I can't do that. Okay. Moon Ketu. Those who are in the educational side of things, you will see there will be natural desire to change your subject of study. Like, even if, let's say, you're studying engineering, you will get interested in wanting to study psychology, clinical psychology. But especially besides engineering, if, let's say, you're studying electricity, great period to take advantage because your focus is going to be aligned. But otherwise, Moon, Ketu going over moon, mind will get distracted. Okay? Something distracts you and breaks the concentration of your mind because Ketu's job is to break. Okay? This is also the period you will see that mother will become quite devoted in her life to certain practices, okay? Certain spiritual practices, or, now this is the or, depends on if mother has addiction or not. If your mother has some kind of an addiction, she's addicted to alcohol, some drugs and all that, she will isolate everybody within her life. She'll be like, that's it. Don't call me, don't do that. For that particular time period when Ketu is around moon's degree, you will see you should not even contact your mom, or mother will naturally cut you guys off. But there has to be a pre-existing addiction issue. A pre-existing condition should be there. Okay. On the other hand, mother will give up her self for the child during this time. If your moon Ketu is going, you're in trouble, mother will come in, give you everything, whatever you need. You call mom to bail you out of jail and it's going to cost her $5,000, she'll come and do it. Because mother is naturally in a mode of giving. Planet of giving is now with the mother. Mother, you will see, mother will smother you. Mother will go overboard. Normal mothers, not the situation I talked about. Normal mothers, you will see, they will overdo things for you. Because there's this mind has this desire to give things away. And especially during this time period, you will see many people will also give their gems away. They'll get rid of many gems in their life. You will, and also people who have moon Ketu will drink least water during that time period when Ketu is around moon's degree. Okay. And with moon Ketu, obviously the best remedy here would be internal sadhana. Sitting 10 minutes every day at the exact same time for at least 40 days. No matter what thoughts coming, whatever dangerous thought, ugly thoughts are coming in, let it come. Because on the 40th day, even if you try to think, you won't be able to think. Even if you try to think about something, it'll be hard for you. How can I say this? I can say this from my own practice. Only after 40 days your sadhana begins. Don't think that 40 days are sadhana. That's not sadhana. Okay? After 40 days, that's when you really understand what sadhana is. And then also, moon Ketu. As much as it gives long trips. Certain trips and certain plans of traveling will either get cut or you will postpone them. Okay. A lot of people during this time period will seek homeopathic and Ayurvedic natural form of medicine and healing, especially herbs. Why? Because moon is liquids. Moon is also in a way healing. Ketu's herbs. People who will have this Ketu go over their moon, you're going to focus on herbs. And you will see with Ketu going over moon, food will become less. Like a lot of people will go on diet. They will go on some kind of a special diet with this particular moon. And the thing is, the one thing that may become a bit of a dry area is your desire to interact with someone in a relationship. One, because the fruits of this conjunction, pay attention to what I'm saying. The fruit, the result of this conjunction is naturally feeling isolated from relationships. Okay, a person will love being in their own domain, not interacting so much in creating relationship. And it will be love relationship, marriage, and relationship related to business, friendship, anything. Person will hesitate during this time. There will be natural phobia and fears towards creating relationship. Now, Ketu is going to go over Mercury. So then Mercury and Ketu. When Ketu is going over Mercury, 3 degrees before, 3 degrees after its degrees, or when Ketu is trine from Mercury, well, one thing I'm going to say is get ready. Get ready to take my courses. All of my courses. Why? Because your interest in astrology will begin for those who are destined to be in astrology. My own journey, serious journey, began when Ketu was trine from my Mercury. That's when everything just boom took place. This is, see what happens with Mercury and Ketu? Intelligent is sharp. Ketu is the edge of the knife. Mercury is the intelligent. Intelligence is so sharp that a person finally, it's like if a person is confused, they realize this is it. This is what I want to do, and I'm going to go deep into it like a worm. On the other hand, for certain ascendants, though, if you are living at home, going to school, and then this Ketu comes over Mercury, there will be breaks in your education. If you're in foreign lands, there won't be a break in education. You will naturally get interested in coding. You will naturally get interested in research-based education or arts. You will take on some art-related subject as maybe as an elective. But it is going to take place. But make sure that when this Ketu is there over Mercury, and if you see that, okay, there's a break that it can happen for sure, and I'm living with my parents, try to go live somewhere else. At least around the degree time when Ketu is behind and in front of Mercury, especially if it's during an important period of your education life where you're supposed to take a test, you're supposed to take SATs, you're supposed to take your final graduation test. Go live with your aunts and uncles who are nearby till that time period, and you will go smoothly towards sailing those high waves. And Mercury is also business. Okay? A lot of times, this Ketu over Mercury does two things. Either you go into business partnership with someone, it ties things up, or usually a person cuts away from certain products, certain things in their business to bring something new in. Like especially somebody who owns a company who has this Mercury Ketu can lay off of many, many people, a lot of people. I don't know if that's what's happening with all these CEO with Meta and Google and Facebook and whatnot. Or I don't know, Amazon, whatever companies are out there. because they will try to cut that workforce. Mercury's child, right? Mercury's children. Little kids, not like significator of children, little kids. Ketu's naturally is something that is shrinking, something which is cutting and decreasing. So this is where you will see that the father or the mother of a company will be like, okay, time to shrink our workforce. They can make that decision. They do make that decision. Mercury and Ketu, development of skills will be the number one priority in this person's agenda. You will see on their plate, whether it's marriage, relationship, anything, somehow they're going to be about honing skills. They're going to be curious about wanting to know more. And like I said, for many people, for certain, at least 3 or 4 different ascendants, this is going to invoke and spark serious education in learning of occult, mysticism, hidden knowledge. It'll spark it. You don't have to have Ketu Mercury. But it will spark that particular thing. Also, this is a period where you can get a dog as well. This is also the period when I got my dog. Why? Because as much as Ketu is dogs, okay, so fine, Ketu's dogs. What is Mercury? Mercury is a friend. What is a dog? Dog is your friend. You get a Ketu related friend. You get a pet. You get a dog, especially dog. Okay. Cats can come too, unless, especially if, let's say, Mars or Rahu are somehow connected with your Mercury in Leo. Then you may get a cat. But yeah, there are very strong possibilities of pets coming in your life. You may be hanging around a lot of pets. You might suddenly find a new friend who has 2-3 dogs, and then you're going there every day and you're hanging out with those dogs. Things like that happen. Okay. Now, the other thing, Mercury Ketu. See, there's so many. I'm already getting things that I missed with Sun Ketu and Moon Ketu. Maybe I need to write them down first. But here you will see this person becomes very methodical about the accounting part, management of money part, and strictness over children becomes active with Leo. Although, especially for Cancer ascendant, if this Mercury is in Leo and Ketu is going into the second around there, they will count penny to penny. Why is this? What is going on with my accounting? What is going on with my budgeting and management of my life? Also, you will hesitate to speak. Speaking is going to be a little bit of a phobia or fear for such people. Not wanting to be in front of people and speaking. Okay, because you will feel like you will make mistakes, and yeah, you could make mistakes. Why not? But who cares? Just go learn. Trust me, if you're 20, I'm telling you, by the time you get to my age, you don't care about anything. You don't care about people's opinion. You don't care about what the world is saying about you. You don't care what your relatives saying about you. You don't care. So it's okay. Go screw up. I hope you screw up so you actually learn. There's nothing happened when you screwed up. Nothing happened. The world didn't change. Just like your comment on somebody's post does not change the world. So when you look at Earth from space, Earth did not change from your comment or your post or your opinion. Same thing will happen. You screw up in your speech, you screw up in your communication. Okay, fine, you screwed up. Go. There's thousands of suns that are going to be rising for you then. Now, one thing about Mercury Ketu, you should also know that it trigger nervous tension, panic attacks, or what do you call an anxiety. Sometimes it'll also, for certain people, for certain ascendant, not all, only certain ascendant. Padham Yoga becomes active in Ketu is with Venus for those particular 18 months. Here you can see heights of your luxurious life, meaning you will get luxury name brand cars, new home. You will get luxury shoes, wristwatches, luxury becomes active here. Because you gotta remember why. It's not like Ketu and Venus, okay, now you have to donate money. All those things happen for certain people, certain ascendants, certain times. But here, Ketu is heights. Ketu wants to take you to heights. So Venus Ketu, I've gone through Venus Ketu. Everything I wanted, I got. Venus Ketu. Okay? So you shouldn't be like, oh my God, Venus is going over Ketu, my money's going to be cut, money's going to be this. No. You know what? The thing that naturally I was doing, that I always do, I was donating money. I donate money. I always donate money. Specifically, I always donate money to this particular one organization and the other to rescuing cows. Saving cows, helping cows. I always done that. I always do it. Actually, thank God I just said this because now I need to send money because I haven't done that in a week. So I did that. And that's where, I got whatever I needed, I got. Okay. And then especially with Ketu Venus, this also shows people who are single, they will attract people from past life in their life. Some past life person comes in. And how do you know that this is a person that is from past life and not just somebody that I'm randomly running into? You know those instant attractions that take place. Like you see them, they see you, and you just know. You just know that, okay, this is going to be a spark of a relationship. That's what this alignment does. Venus Ketu, a lot of people will also tie knots. Will get married when Ketu is going to go over Venus. Okay. That's the saying, tying knots. What is not? Ketu. Now, will some people get divorced with Venus Ketu? Of course, but they have to have that yoga of divorce. It's not like this Venus Ketu goes over Venus, you get a divorce. No. But what does happen, especially for females, okay, due to the hormonal change in them, they become a bit dried and bleak, or they'll feel different. When it's 3 degrees before and after Venus, yes, you may not have that intimate time with your spouse as much during that time period. You know, they may deal with, certain hormone imbalance or some changes where they'll just be like, I'm not interested. And let them be. It's okay. They have to go through it. Because all these changes that you see are negative. Oh my God, I don't want to go through this. Why is my wife going through this? I wish it wasn't happening. No, it'll change for something else. It's supposed to trigger something else that maybe when you couldn't be intimate with your spouse and you're just hanging out, suddenly that idea sparked. Suddenly this happened to you. You were wanting to go with your spouse, but the spouse didn't feel well. They just wanted to sleep. And you're like, okay, I'm just going to take my friend. And you take your friend, and next thing you know, you're meeting somebody else. And now all three of you are in a business partnership. And that partnership starts giving you literally 6 figures a month. So you see how one disappointment that you may think in your head that it's disappointment leads to something amazing in the future. This is why I've stopped caring about, oh my God, this is happening and this is going to happen. Why? Because when this happens, this happens. For example, if I didn't get fired from my most amazing job in real estate, I wouldn't be here. So stop it. Stop caring about, again, I've so told people this. Your life is waiting for you out there outside of YouTube and outside of these videos of transit. Go live it. I live it every day. I do photography every day. If you see, especially on my Facebook page, I will, put different photographs every day that I'm taking, which is Kair's channel, Kapiel Raaj, Kair's channel photography. No, just Kapiel Raaj photography. That's all. So I go. I don't care what planet is going over where. I'm doing my thing. And that's what you need to do. You need to do your thing. Okay. So now, with Venus Ketu, we're going to move into Venus Earth or Ketu Earth. No, we're going to go to Ketu and Mars. So Ketu meeting Mars. And remember, it's going to be 3 degrees before it meets Mars, 3 degrees after it meets Mars in the sign of Leo. So, on one hand, remember, Mars represents younger brother, Mars represents husband, Mars represents best friend, Mars is engineering, technology, land, real estate, conflicts, fight. Now, a lot of people do say, okay, well, how can a brother become a husband? How can you give a title to a brother or title of a brother to a husband and vice versa? The thing is, if let's say in Vedic, husband is Jupiter, right? Jupiter is what? Significator of children? Jupiter is what? Significator of guru? How is it that you're going to marry your guru? How is it that you're going to marry your children? You see, you're going to keep arguing these things. Okay. Now, overall, Venus is the significator of marriage, relationship, unionship. But Mars will show a different relationship with the husband and different relationship with the brother, younger brother. You're not going to have the same relationship with them. There's a different dynamic that plays out. Okay. But in transit, you will see one thing. Same type of things takes place, like especially during this time period, you will see younger brother and husband feel introvert, isolated, secluded, hermit-like. They want to be in their own space. They want to be in their own cigar room. They want to be in their own man cave. They don't want to really interact with a lot of people. They become quite intense. They become intense enough, or the intensity rises for them to achieve some high goal. Suddenly a goal comes into their consciousness that I need to achieve this. Why? Because again, Ketu is a flag. Ketu needs to rise high. This is the time period that a person in your life, unless of course Mars, you're a Leo ascendant, or let's say you're an Aries ascendant and Mars is in the 5th house in your birth chart, well, guess what? You're going to become complete goal oriented during this time period. You're going to have that tunnel vision focus, that piercing focus. In this time period, you will also become very harsh. And I'm not talking about like Aries ascendant, just Mars individual becomes very direct, straightforward, and to the point. For them, they don't want to kid around. You know, like suddenly if you see a comedian who becomes very rude and very serious in public and this and that, why? Because most likely they have Mars somehow connected with Ketu, where their action is blindfolded. There is a blindfold on an individual when Ketu is meeting Mars. Okay, so and now, like I said, it really takes place with husband, brother, unless Mars becomes your ascendant lord or Mars becomes the Atma Karka. But otherwise, this is a time period where a person is going to focus on attaining new heights. Mars, Ketu, okay, will especially will be very good for people who are engineers, construction worker, or if let's say your husband is an astrologer, husband is a researcher. Extremely great time period for them, because they're going to be seeing the alignment of heights come in their life. If let's say Mars becomes your 10th lord, 7th lord, heights in your career, new heights takes place. Also during this time period, a lot of people with this transit coming across will get into yoga. Yoga studios will be busy during this time period when it meets Mars, and mostly all those people who are joining new, watch. Either Ketu will be over Mars or Ketu will be trine from Mars. One way or the other, it'll be affecting your Mars. Okay. Dentist visits can happen during this time period. One way or the other, you will get a dentist visit. You'll also go for cholesterol check. You'll also go for blood work when Ketu is around Mars. Because Ketu is a sharp object, Mars is blood, so sharp objects somehow needs to bring that blood out. So you will go for these type of checkups in your life. Okay. Next is going to be Ketu and Jupiter. So when Ketu meets Jupiter, Jupiter is naturally the individual themselves, the jiva, the living soul, me, you. So this is a very strong point with Jupiter and Ketu. Ketu loves Jupiter. Okay, because even in Nadi, Ketu is known to be exalted in the sign of Jupiter. Okay. So here, this is a time of a person to reflect upon their actions. It's not going to be a whole 18-month thing. Usually, if Jupiter is, let's say, at 15 degrees, Ketu will enter at 29 degrees. The intensity intensifies. Because Jupiter, thing you have to understand, Jupiter is a huge planet. It is a planet with gravitational force. It's a large planet. So when you put planets in houses, if you take size of those planets, Moon will be like a little dot on a birth chart. Earth will be like, maybe size of a smallest pea you can see. The vegetable peas. Where Saturn and Jupiter may be the size of a grape. And especially Jupiter is going to be the size of a grape, size of an almond on the birth chart. So you always have to understand these things. Sun, wherever it's placed, it's going to pretty much take control of the entire house. It's that big. But Jupiter is known as the gravitational force of protection. Okay. So this is going to be the period, especially it'll intensify 3 degrees before, 3 degrees after it meets Jupiter, that a person will reflect on their life. Like, why? The questions that the individual will ask is, who am I? Why am I here? What is this place? What am I supposed to do here? Why am I doing this? What I'm supposed to be doing? And these type of questions arises to bring about a new change for Jupiter. So when Ketu is going over Jupiter, is taking away some old layer from Jupiter's gas. Some old gas is going over. And so this becomes a period for a person to understand things at a much deeper level. Like, this is the people who actually hate astrology, scrutinize astrology, make fun of it, treat it as a pseudoscience, will start to reflect something in these particular areas. I'm not saying astrology, but just things like maybe miracles do happen. Maybe there is some other force like God. Maybe I'm just ignorant enough to be using my intelligence in a very logical manner instead of very intuitive manner. They start to understand that, wait, I do have certain other things besides my intelligence that is working. Why is it that I'm not able to control my heartbeat and control what my liver is doing, control what my kidney is doing? So there is these questions that arises that are deeper in nature. Even a criminal in prison, when they have Jupiter go over Ketu, you will see they begin to pick up a Bible and start reading the Bible, right? And so they become the preacher within the prison system to reform other prisoners. So it always comes in. Now, many a times people are lifelong atheists, no matter how many transits of Ketu goes over Jupiter. But for that particular time period, either triggers temporarily or triggers a permanent change in a person. And especially during this period, an individual likes to look deeper into certain things. It doesn't have to be esoteric, doesn't have to be accentuated to the level of divinity and God. Maybe they start to look into their own family dynamics. What needs to change? I need to start paying more attention to my child, paying more attention to this house. This house needs repair. They start observing. The observational capacity of an individual increases with this Ketu. it's very simple to say, well, you become spiritual, you start doing meditation, you get into astrology. Yes, those who have that destiny will definitely do that, but not everybody's going to be doing these things. Okay, like a banker with Jupiter going over Ketu will finally realize that, I've been doing this whole thing the wrong way. I need to maybe take a spiritual approach to become a better investment banker. That spiritual approach does not necessarily have to do with divinity or God. It has to just look in a different direction to do to come up with the things that they're doing. That's what it does. Okay, because Jupiter is the intelligence, the wisdom. Jupiter is actually wisdom. Mercury is intelligence, but Jupiter is the higher form of intelligence and wisdom. So a person will begin to discover new things to enhance their intelligence. Like a mathematician suddenly discovering that I can use this mathematics in stock market. And I can make huge amounts of profits. That is a new layer coming about on a person's consciousness. This is also the period a person likes to get away from where they are and wanting to explore unknown things. Because Rahu, Ketu do the same thing. They are unknown. They want to take you towards the unknown territory. So many people, especially with Jupiter in Leo, with Ketu going over their Jupiter, will desire to go and travel to some different place, wanting to be in a different environment. It doesn't mean anything with spirituality unless you have the conditions in your chart for that particular awakening. Fruits of which will be seen, of course, in the Navamsha. That if this person is going to change for this particular thing or they're going to change for more of a material thing. Because Jupiter-Ketu conjunction in this particular time period does invoke certain things. Even the, what was his name? He was a really old bearded person who always kind of exposed psychics and astrologers and palm readers and all that. Even that person, I thought I knew his name. Randy something? Could be. But even these particular moments, they will introspect into, could there be something real? Even if this magic is fake, I wonder if there's some reality to it. And that can push them to expose more of these things. Expose more of these scams. Because they're trying to now find the truth. That, okay, I'm going to intensify my thing to really see if there's somebody real out there. That's what the Jupiter and Ketu interaction does to an individual. And especially because Jupiter represents the liver, Jupiter represents the fat, usually this is the period where a person you will see will either eat less, change their diet, change their food habits that will shrink that fatty liver. Like literally 80% of the population is supposed to have fatty liver, which is now a normal thing, which is not supposed to be a normal thing. So Ketu's job is to shrink that. So shrinking the fat, shrinking the fatty liver, making it normal. Okay, the purification of Jupiter takes place here. Ketu simply purifying the energy of each planet. Like especially with Venus Ketu, cleansing of the kidneys can happen. Okay. So this is the Ketu's over Jupiter. Ketu meeting Saturn. Your karma needs to take a break. Karma, especially nowadays, is what is our profession. A lot of people, you will see, will desire to take a break from their profession, especially because it's in a heated sign of Leo. Leo has a lot of responsibilities. Saturn is the servant, but Saturn is now standing next to the king. So Saturn does become important in Leo. Okay. It's not like Saturn is doing bad things in Leo. No. High level People, high level lawyers can be seen, judges can be seen with Saturn in Leo. And this is the period where in your work, you will see that a person, naturally nature will have them either put a break, taking some time off, or they actually can go deep into doing research into their particular work. Some project naturally comes up that says, hey, we need you to do some research on this project. If that happens, please take it. It is only going to improve your profession during this time period. This is also the period with Saturn, Ketu. It can be extremely beneficial for people who are in Ketu-related profession, like chartered accountancy, law, electricity, research analysis. Okay. People who are, let's say, they do their work is to cut pipes. Their work is to cut the meat like a butcher. They're going to feel much more comfortable and aligned with that particular work. Like, for example, an astrologer. This can be the time that some astrologer with Sun, Saturn, and Leo goes to the heights of their profession, gets recognized by people, gets the appreciation of the people. Because they're naturally in that. That's why I'm saying it. It's not like a chartered accountant suddenly will start becoming an astrologer. That's not how it's going to work. Chartered accountant may actually just be doing a lot more chartered accountancy during this time. But one of the other things, especially people who work in government, obviously, as you see, Ketu tends to give its results 2 or 3 months before it even enters. And literally, especially in US, you see what's happening with Doge, cutting of government expenses, cutting of government wasteful spending. So in that, the workforce, which is also in the government, is being cut. So in the government sector, such a person needs to look for new opportunities. Needs to start looking for switching departments, changing departments. Naturally, you may actually be transferring 3 times to a different department or transferring to a different state, even if you're in government. Especially, like, I don't see that here happening so much. Here is like wherever you are, that's where the government is. But India, I see a lot of people get transfers. So if your Saturn is with Moon and Ketu's coming near Saturn, there will be a transfer of job and work, and opportunity will come in. And if that happens, take it. Don't be like, no. I want to stay here. Give it to this person. No, you take it. Because it will be beneficial to you. Otherwise, then it gives the reverse results. With Saturn Ketu. Saturn Ketu will also show many times a person will also desire to cut away from a job and wanting to go towards business. Why? Because they want to take responsibility of their own life and their own karma. They're saying, now naturally, Saturn is somebody who will surrender with Ketu. Like a person will be becoming more obliged to their profession and work. But here it also shows with Saturn Ketu that I want to take my karma and be responsible where I don't have to deal with anybody. I want to be in alone. I want to be in this silence, this quietness, so I can just work and be responsible for my own work. So a lot of times people who just want to be in their home doing consulting work, and maybe they'll make less, maybe they'll make more, but they're in that peace with that Saturn Ketu. That okay, I'm away from this noise of the corporation and I'm just on my own, alone. Like in Hindi we say ekant. The karma becomes ekant. The karma becomes solitude. These are the changes that Ketu brings upon Saturn. But again, Ketu is height. So you will see like people who are aligned with this Ketu Saturn position, the flag just rises for them. They go to new heights depending upon which house these particular transit is taking over. Okay. Now, if Ketu is going over Rahu, it's like opening up and going deep into the wormhole of your destiny. Like naturally, whenever Ketu goes over Rahu, Rahu goes over Ketu, this is a period of the most positive transformation in a person's life. Because Ketu is opening up that it's kind of like putting a a round stake in a round hole. It's going to fit. You're not putting a square peg in a round hole. It's there to fit something and create something new and more transformative. So that's with the Rahu Ketu. Although that explanation can be literally another 15-20 minutes long if I wanted to make it. But I don't want to go into that. Basically, these main planets focus on that. Okay? So this was our Ketu transit. Thank you.